Real quick, a quick edit. This is Gizmo88. The video that was planned for this week, I was not able to release due to I'm actually still waiting on an item. So hopefully we'll try to make that next week's video. But anyway, back to the video. Hello, this is Gizmo88. Thanks for tuning in. This video is going to be about GTA 6. I'm sure you've probably already guessed it. Of course, probably guessed it by the title. So something came up this week about this game. Over in the UK, they have implemented a new age verification law, and so there was a thing that was leaked out about a message that would require you to play it online. Now there was some confusion about that, and there was some misinformation about that. Honestly, misinformation is kind of becoming commonplace, unfortunately. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this and talk about kind of the implications, that this could potentially potentially have, because I definitely think that um, there's some real issues here. Um, Forcing you to scan a government ID or even any sort of like age verification type system of any kind as far as how it would work. I know there was a thing that supposedly that you would have to uh, scan your ID, but apparently this is something that Rockstar is planning on implementing, as it was discovered it's in the game files. So as far as exactly how it's implemented, we don't really know to that extent yet. Um, and will this affect like GTA 5 since it's a current game? I don't know. But either way, even this aside, when you talk about even other games that draw comparisons, I mean, even think of something like Call of Duty, which is an M-rated game, or think of something, well, like most of the games that Sony puts out are M-rated games. Most of the games that Xbox puts out tend to be M-rated games. You know, Something like a Tomb Raider game would be M-rated, or like a Ninja Gaiden game would be M-rated. Just things I'm thinking off the top of my head, but the reality is that they would be, those are M-rated games. So games, any games pretty much that are M-rated or 18 plus would be subjected, you know, to this law. Now, where this really becomes an issue is that even if you don't live in the UK, so like myself, I don't live in the UK, but the fact of the matter is that because it's in the game's files, unfortunately, this is probably going to be something that's going to be a worldwide thing. And yeah, this is going to be a turnoff for a lot of gamers. I know myself, I have no desire to provide, um, my any sort of an ID to play a game. Like I'm just not going to do that. In my opinion, it's it it's not the game developer's business. It's not the console maker's business. You know, it's in my opinion, it's just none of their business. It's none of their business what my government ID is. That has nothing to do with me playing a game. And generally speaking, it's really not their responsibility, to make sure that people uh, that aren't supposed to be playing the game are not playing it. But unfortunately, parents, um, and of course, there's loopholes at stores where people are able to purchase these games. And yeah, it creates a whole situation. But I will also say that myself, I don't even play GTA Online. I play the campaign, but I just I don't have the desire to play the online. I mean, the community is just the a lot of the chat that goes on is just not you know the kind of stuff that I want to hear or that I want to talk about. So I stay out of it. But regardless, verifying your age to use features like phone messages, text chat, Snapmatic. Maybe restricted until you verify. Now, again, some of this was not actually correct. While there is a thing actually in the game, um, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this plays out. But it basically says that anybody over 18 would need to confirm their age to access the game's online functionality, while those under 18 would not be allowed to play the game online at all. Um, One thing that's interesting about this as well, and I've noticed it was on a website where, let's see, as far as the misinformation. Now, some stuff on Reddit is correct, some stuff is not, so, take it with a grain of salt. It says regarding misinformation about Rockstar's age verifications, 2 days ago, a post published that showed a fake alert message from Rockstar stating that you needed to provide ID to play GTA Online. We weren't aware of this at the time, uh, that it was fake, so it stayed up until now. Here is what is currently known, and it says here is what is currently known about the impact of the new UK law that will have on GTA Online. It says the code for the age verification is in the game files, but not currently active, meaning that it's possible that when the game comes out, it may not be active, but it's something that evidently they are planning on implementing. It also says what will happen is that you will be directed to a separate web page with a QR code. So this is kind of interesting because this means that you'll have to use, like a phone or or a tablet, in order to log in to play this game. So yeah, this is definitely a real issue. My question is exactly how they plan on implementing this. So unfortunately, this is a real thing, and I haven't really seen anybody actually talking about the correction in all this either. So I'm definitely glad that I brought it up because I definitely think it's an important thing. And yeah, I really hope that um, that this don't become like a widespread thing where every game requires some sort of a verification of some kind. Um, because again, the thing is when you think about it, how are you going to prove your age? Obviously, the only way to prove it is with a government issued ID. So that's kind of where this came about. Again, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. But unfortunately, this is kind of where we're at. So, again, take it with a grain of salt. We'll just have to see what happens. Um, Honestly, one other thing I will bring up about this game is something else that has been brought up, unrelated to the age verification thing. It has to do with the game's initial release and as far as what the game's performance will be and how the game will actually perform on PS5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. And this is kind of an interesting one, as well as the PS5 Pro. This is kind of interesting because if we look at GTA 5 when it came out, of course, and even prior GTA games, for the most part, they've always kind of come out and have never really ran the best. If we look at GTA 4, it didn't, it had issues on its initial release. GTA 5, when it came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, that was the initial launch, and yeah, unfortunately, it didn't fare well. It really didn't run that great on the systems. They really had to scale it back. The graphics weren't the greatest either. As a matter of fact, the games actually suffered on the PS4 and Xbox One and even the PC for many, many years due to it releasing on those previous systems. So I know there's some hope that maybe the trend will be different and maybe the game will come out and it'll run at 60 FPS on PS5 Pro Maybe it'll run, at a solid or a locked 30 FPS on PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and maybe even the Series S. But I'm just going to be upfront with you. I'm not expecting 60 FPS from any system that's on the market right now. I really think this game's going to come out, and it's going to come out at 30 FPS. And it's probably, honestly, while it looks okay, it does seem like the focus is going to be the graphics rather than the actual frame rates. And while the game could very well be in a rough state when it comes out, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, if it ends up being in a buggy state, or what happens. But I haven't even decided if I'm even going to buy it right now. I mean, I may just wait for the next generation consoles, um, or maybe just buy it on PC, because, like I said, I didn't buy GTA 5 on PS3 or Xbox 360 because I knew how rough it was. I waited for it to come out on PS4 and Xbox One, and then I got it on PS4, and then I later got it on PC. And it's kind of interesting because even getting the legacy version on PC, it still blew the PS4 version away. It was just a much better game, just a much better version of the game overall. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. That yeah, I that if you're hoping for a solid, high frame rate version of the game, I would wait. I would wait for it to come out on PC. I would wait for, you know, um, like the PS6 and then whatever the next Xbox ends up being. I would wait for it to come out on those systems. Um, and again, it's kind of a wait and see. So another question that comes up, or that has come up as well, has to do with Switch 2 and whether or not GTA 6 will come out on Switch 2. Now, it's already been said that anything that can run on Xbox Series S will be able to run on Switch 2. So, essentially, what that means is that GTA 6 can, in fact, run on Switch 2. Now, as far as what the game will look like, how it will run, I don't know. Obviously, I would make an exception to maybe buying it on Switch 2, even if it's not the best version, because I don't have an issue with buying handheld versions of games, and I would definitely have lower expectations for that. So, if we had a 30 FPS release on Switch 2, I'd be fine with that for a while, just to play the campaign. But I do think it will come to Switch 2. The Rockstar CEO, it was either the Rockstar CEO or the Take-Two CEO, actually did talk about the potential for the game to come over, and essentially what was said was they're going to look at sales for the games that we're currently releasing on Switch 2, and if the games do well, then yeah, will be they have plans to bring GTA 6 to Switch 2. So I do wish that that they would release it alongside the PS5 and Series X and S versions, because I really do think that would be phenomenal. Um, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, Rockstar just doesn't want to do that. So, so anyway, we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, for now, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click the notification bell for future videos. Again, check my Twitter page, or of course X, as it's called now, um, for channel updates, as well as any social updates. And yep, I look forward to see you in the next video. Stay tuned for more videos. Again, every Wednesday. Again, this week was an exception. And like I said, hopefully this item comes in and we can have some fun with next week's video. So anyway, thanks for tuning in.